Today, Bitcoin's November sell-off continues. Sam Bankman-Fried's attorneys argue for a retrial before an appeals court. And Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan breaks down how the asset manager's new ETF focused on Solana has performed in its first week of trading. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. The crypto sell-off continues today, with Bitcoin dropping below $100,000 for the first time in more than 4 months. Digital assets fell victim to the same pressure hitting risk assets on Wall Street. Bitcoin's drop happened around 1:30 this afternoon before bouncing back above the $100,000 level. An hour later, Bitcoin was trading at $101,217. Ether, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, traded lower by more than 8%, and Solana Sol token was down by more than 5%. Now, crypto holders have grown increasingly concerned about the sustainability of stock valuations driven to stratospheric heights by the AI trade. AI and crypto attract many of the same investors, leading to similar market moves. The Nasdaq Composite, home to the leading AI stocks, also faced a volatile trading day, with investors selling AI-linked Palantir on concerns about its astronomical valuation, despite the data manager's solid earnings results in its latest quarter. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Sam Bankman-Fried's legal team is arguing for a retrial before an appeals court today. The FTX founder is seeking a new trial on his fraud and conspiracy charges. Back in March of 2024, SBF was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the securities fraud conspiracy that doomed his crypto exchange and a related hedge fund, Alameda Research. Bankman-Fried also was ordered to pay $11 billion in forfeiture at the sentencing in Manhattan federal court. Last week, in a post on X shared on his behalf, the disgraced FTX founder claimed the crypto exchange was never insolvent and blamed bankruptcy lawyers for the company's downfall, something he's claimed since the November 2022 collapse. According to the Associated Press, the appeals court will rule on the matter at a later date. Next, Binance CEO Richard Tang is dismissing claims that the company promoted Trump-linked stablecoin USD1 ahead of Changpeng Zhao's pardon. Tang told CNBC yesterday that Binance's use of USD1 for a $2 billion investment it received was determined by the other party, MGX, and not Binance. The investment in question relates to a deal between MGX and Binance in March. President Trump faced pay-to-play accusations following CZ's pardon, including from Senator Elizabeth Warren, who alleged last month that CZ, quote, boosted one of Donald Trump's crypto ventures and lobbied for a pardon after pleading guilty to a money laundering charge. The president repeatedly said he has no idea who CZ is, but argued CZ was treated really badly by the Biden administration. Now, just today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt clarified that the president didn't have a personal relationship with CZ, but added that the White House takes the pardon process seriously. All right, turning to spot crypto ETFs for our main story. Last week, more of those investment products tied to altcoins came to market in the U.S. Those include ETFs tied to cryptocurrencies like Solana Sol token. I spoke with Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan about the launch of the asset manager's new spot crypto ETF tied to Sol. According to Bitwise, it's the first exchange-traded product in the U.S. to have 100% direct exposure to Sol, and it's one of the first crypto ETPs with built-in staking. The Bitwise Solana Staking ETF started trading on the New York Stock Exchange exactly 1 week ago. And according to FactSet, the ETF saw inflows of $417 million over the past week, and Bitwise is recording $67 million of inflows yesterday alone. Now that it has been exactly 1 week since its launch, how would you say this new ETF is performing so far?
I think it's been a fantastic launch. Investors were clearly hungry for Solana exposure in a simple staking spot ETF, and they've been buying BSOL in droves. It's the fastest growing new ETF to launch this year out of 850 ETFs, not just in crypto, but across all assets. I think people recognize that Solana is one of the most exciting crypto assets on the market today. It has some of the biggest upside. We've had a little market pullback. People have an opportunity to get in at a fantastic entry price with Solana trading below 160. It makes me really excited. I think these flows will continue. I think what we've seen is just a down payment. And again, we're just so excited to have BSOL on the market.
So, expanding on that, in a nutshell, why do you think there is so much demand for this investment product? In a note to clients last week, you argued that Solana benefits from both the growth of the stablecoin and tokenization infrastructure markets, and that Solana will win an increasing share of the market. Can you elaborate on why it was important for Bitwise to offer an ETF focused on Solana and staking?
Yeah, absolutely. I love crypto investments that give you two bets at once. And that's what you're getting with BSOL, right? You're betting that stablecoins and tokenization will be more important in 5 years than they are today. Solana has a role to play in that ecosystem. So if it just grows with the market, this could be a fantastic investment. And then, as you mentioned, you're betting that Solana will win a bigger share of that market. Ethereum is a clear leader. It's a fantastic, exciting protocol, but Solana is getting key wins. Just last week, we saw Western Union launch a stablecoin on Solana. So that's a bet I like as well. If both of those bets pay off, you could see this asset double, triple, maybe grow by 10x in the next few years. It's really exciting to get that exposure. And then the other piece you mentioned was the staking element. The real beauty of BSOL, our ETF, is not only does it give you exposure to Solana, but it stakes 100% of that Solana. So chasing after the 7% plus yields that are available to have one of the most exciting assets in one of the most exciting markets, stablecoins and tokenization, with phenomenal technology and real momentum, plus a 7% staking yield. I think that's part of why you've seen that $400 million plus flow into BSOL in just its first week on the market.
So Bitwise also has a US-based Ethereum staking ETF, which I understand is in the process of being updated to include staking rewards. Bitwise also offers a similar product based in Europe, and that one captures staking rewards. What's the latest with that product, and how do you think it will compare to the new Solana ETF?
Yeah, Bitwise is a leader in staking. We have a whole staking division, Bitwise On-Chain Solutions. So this is a critical part of investing in the crypto infrastructure. I think you're going to see many ETFs that were launched under the original regime, right, during the Gensler era SEC, let's say, migrate up to offer staking rewards. The pace at which they do that in the US is to be determined. It doesn't help. I'll add that the government is closed. That definitely slows us down from making those sorts of innovations. But we've been doing it in Europe for years. We're doing it with these new ETFs like Solana, and we're looking at it for our existing ETFs, and we'll upgrade where it makes sense. Investors don't want to miss out on that potential upside increment of returns that can be had through a high quality staking service.
So, can we expect to see any more new spot crypto ETFs from Bitwise in the near future, perhaps tied to other altcoins? Are there any plans to offer even more new products like this?
Absolutely. We think there's demand for exposure to a large number of those altcoins. I think that you'll see assets like XRP and other major assets get their ETFs relatively soon. We've seen filings from the SEC, not talking about any specific filing, but we've seen those moving through the system. We're going to wake up in 6 months and investors are going to be able to use high quality, low cost ETFs to access the top 10, maybe top 20 ETFs. And then the next exciting thing beyond that is you're going to start to see ETFs that package those together in diversified exposures. Those index-based ETFs, I actually think could be one of the surprises of the market. I could think they could be, bigger even than the Ethereum ETF. So there is definitely more coming from Bitwise. We've entered the ETF era of crypto, and I think that's a very good thing for investors.
In that note to clients last week that I mentioned earlier, you argued that you think that over time, all payments will be in stablecoins and nearly all assets will be tokenized. Why do you feel that way? I'm sure the Genius Act stablecoin bill becoming law over the summer here in the US had something to do with it.
That's absolutely right. It's a fundamentally better technology and not just a little bit better. The analogy is between writing letters and sending emails. How many of us still write letters? They're very quaint. It's nice every 3 years when you receive one from a friend, but we write emails because it's faster, cheaper, 24/7. Dollars move already today over networks like Ethereum and Solana faster than they do over the largest banking networks in the world. Not just a little bit faster. I can move money anywhere in the world on a blockchain almost instantaneously for very little cost. I just think it's inevitable that all payments will move over stablecoin rails. All major assets will move over blockchain based rails. And it's not just me. You're hearing that from the head of the SEC. You're hearing that from the leadership of the largest asset managers in the world, like BlackRock. You're seeing it when every major Wall Street institution is launching a stablecoin and tokenization push. I think this will happen faster than people expect. Now that we have the Genius Act, now that we have regulation around these and people aren't afraid to interact with them, I think we could wake up in just a few years and this could be a dominant way that we pay for things, that we trade stocks, that we trade bonds, that we trade ETFs. This is a massive upgrade of our financial ecosystem. And again, I think it's coming faster than most people think.
And it certainly will be very interesting to see if your forecast comes to fruition. But in that same note, you also said that you're bullish on Ethereum and other blockchains, but you like Solana's odds of winning a larger share of this market because it offers fast, user-friendly technology. You also said that while it's a newer asset, it's gaining ground. You pointed to that example you brought up today, that announcement from Western Union, that it chose Solana as the underlying blockchain for its stablecoin. So in a nutshell, how would you compare Ethereum to the Solana blockchain?
Yeah, look, Ethereum is the market leader. It's the king of this area, and I think it has a very bright future. You see a lot of institutions choosing to build on ETH. They're accelerating from a technological perspective. I love ETH and I own it. The reason I wrote that I was so excited about Solana is just because it's so relatively small. It's only 1/5 the size of Ethereum from a market cap perspective. It's 1/25 the size of Bitcoin. I think you could see Solana double or triple or quadruple or 5x its market share, and the price could go up substantially, even as Ethereum is doing exceptionally well. So, look, I love all my children equally. I love Ethereum and I hold it as a core part of my portfolio. I think its prospect is extraordinarily bright. I think it's undervalued, but I think Solana may be even more undervalued versus its technology and its momentum. It is a very user-friendly blockchain. And I think that is a killer app that's maybe slightly underrated by the market. I think it will have a bigger share going forward.
Turning to markets, crypto's November sell-off is continuing today. What do you attribute the sell-off to, and what's your outlook for the rest of the year?
It's a really interesting time in the market because it's almost a tale of two markets. Crypto retail is in max desperation. We've seen leverage blowouts. We've seen issues with vaults. We've seen issues with yield protocols, and the market for sort of crypto native retail is just more depressed than I've ever seen it. I think that market is close to a bottom. It's hard to find a crypto native investor who still has much enthusiasm for the market. I think the market is shifting into an institutionally driven market. And interestingly, that market is still bullish. When I go out and speak to institutions or financial advisors, they're still excited to allocate to an asset class that, if you pan back and look over the course of a year, is still delivering very strong returns. So my view of the market is we have to get through this retail flush out. We have to hit bottom from a sentiment perspective. I think we're very close to that. And then I'm optimistic that we rally into the end of the year and into 2026 as the institutional investors who are more maybe even keeled about what's going on at a fundamental level in crypto start to drive the market forward. So I'm optimistic, but we do have to finish this washout of retail sentiment. And again, I think we're closer to the end of that than the beginning, but there always could be a little bit more downside.
That's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.